Good morning, honors. Today we are going to look at section 8.1, which is adding and subtracting polynomials. Now, I know earlier last week I had mentioned that we were going to cover 7.6 and 7.7, which is on exponential properties and growth and decay exponential functions. But as a math department, we have decided to skip those sections and move straight into chapter 8. So that is what we're going to look at today. So first thing is, what is a monomial? So a monomial is a real number, a variable, or a product, meaning multiplication, of a real number and one or more variables with a whole number exponent. So that means we do not have fractions or decimals as our exponents. So a radical symbol would not be a monomial. And if you notice, we have some examples. So we have an example of a number. This is a variable. And then all of these are a combination. So everything is a product. This one here, a over 3, that is also a product because that is the same thing as multiplying 1/3 by a. So that is also a product. Some other things I want to look at is what's called a degree of a monomial. So that is the sum of the exponents of its variables. And then the degree of any non-zero constant is 0. So if I gave you the number 3, then the degree is 0. And then 0 has no degree. So going based off of this, we want to look at the degree of each monomial. So if we're looking here, 5 has a degree of 0, and x. The exponent hidden here is a 1, so the degree here is 1. So if we add these together, the degree is 1. Here, we could do the same thing. We have 6. So the degree is 0. X would be the 3. And then y is 2. And again, if we add these together, then the degree is 5. Then for number 4, just like before, right? Constants, the degree is 0. So then that is the answer for number 4 or number 3. When it comes to adding and subtracting monomials, what we're really going to look at is the constants. So because as long as they are like terms, we can add and subtract them. So looking at number 1, they both have an x squared to them. So we're going to worry about adding their constants. So 3 plus 5 gives us 8, and then we have x squared. Think about it as breaking each thing into its quantities, right? If I have 3x squared, and then I have 5 of them, if we combine all of these together, we get with 8 of them, right? So that's where the 8x squared comes from. We could do the same thing with subtracting. So the hidden number here is a 1. So 4 minus 1 gives us 3x cubed y. Next thing I want to look at with you guys is called a polynomial. So it is a monomial, so it could just be one piece, it could be a monomial, or it's the sum of monomials, so meaning we are taking multiple monomials and adding them together. Or we could even subtract them together. So the monomial below here, I'll highlight it, the 3x to the 4th plus 5x squared minus 7x plus 1. That is a polynomial, so it is 4 monomials being added and subtracted together, and it is written in standard form. So standard form is when we take the exponents and we write them in order from largest to smallest. So we have 4, 2, there's a 1 there, and then the constant. And then the degree of the polynomial will be the same as the monomial with the highest degree. So if you notice, they listed them all here, 4, 2, 1, and 0. So the degree of the monomial is going to be 4. So what we have here is classifying different types of polynomials. So the first one, 6, right? We already talked about how the degree is 0 and how it is called a constant. So it is just a number. And there is one term, meaning that this is a monomial. Monomial, or mono meaning 1. Okay. Looking at the second one, we have a variable now. The degree is 1 because the x is being raised to the first power. Think of this as linear, right? That looks like our linear equations we were graphing in chapter 5 and 6. So that's a linear equation. That's how we would name it using the degree. This one has 2 terms, so it's called a binomial. For the next one, we have 4x squared. So this is the highest exponent. So that's how we're going to name it. So the degree, again, here is 2. It is a quadratic. We are going to look at these in chapter 8 and 9. And then there's 3 terms. So this is a trinomial. Okay. The next one, the only difference here is that the exponent here is a 3. So the word that changes for that is called a cubic. You will learn about these probably in Algebra 2. And then the last thing I want to look at with you is then the last one, where the exponent is a 4. So after we get past 3, any number, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, regardless, right? We just say the number and to the degree. So if you had the 5 as your degree, it would be to the 5th degree, 6th degree, 7th degree. We don't have a specific term for them. Okay. So here, let's classify some polynomials. So we want to write them in standard form first. So I'm going to do that in yellow. So if I'm going from the biggest exponent to the smallest exponent, it is going to be 4x squared plus 3x. Now looking, I want to name it based off of the degree. So I will do that in green. So the degree here is a 2. So this means this is a quadratic. And then the last thing we want to look at then is based off the number of terms. So we have 2 terms. So this makes it a binomial. And then for the second one, let's rewrite this. So it looks like I have this as my highest. So I'm going to have 5x cubed. And then if you notice, we actually have 2 terms with an x raised to the first power. So we're going to do 4x plus 7x and combine those to get 11x and then bring down that minus 1. So now this has 3 terms versus 4 terms. The highest term is a 3, so this is a cubic. And then because of the 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, this is a trinomial. So what we can do is actually combine multiple polynomials. So this is adding and subtracting polynomials. So we're just going to simplify. So the idea is we want to find like terms. So I have x cubed, and then notice I have 7x cubed. I have, let's see, a negative 3x squared plus 5x squared. And then we have 5x as its own, and then minus 12 as its own. So we're going to combine those like terms. So big thing to notice is that we are subtracting. So 1 minus 7 gives us negative 6x cubed. Okay, so we took care of those. Minus 3x squared minus 5x squared is going to give us minus 8x squared. So we took care of those. The 5x is the only one there, so it stays. And then it turns into plus 12 because we're subtracting a negative 12. So the double negative makes it positive. And this is our final answer. So this would be a cubic. And this would be, I would put it as a polynomial because it has more than 3 terms. So we will just call that a polynomial. Okay. Let's do one more. Again, notice we are subtracting. So I have my minus 4m cubed, and I have a 4m cubed. And then we have minus m plus m, and we have a 9 and a minus 12. So let's combine these. So I have a negative 4m cubed minus 4m cubed. So this is going to give us negative 8m cubed. Negative 1m minus 1m is going to give us negative 2m. And then 9 plus 12, right? Double negative again is going to have us add. So this is going to give us positive 21. And that is our answer. And just like kind of up top, this is a cubic and this is a trinomial. And that is the last of these slides. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. You all have my email address. If any of you need to video conference or ask questions, we can set that up as well. I hope you have a great week, and I miss you all.